Hey folks, I'm here playing some Princess Crown and wishing an early happy VD to all you love machines out there. This is Skulg, who Gradriel recognizes as the jerk who kidnapped her sister, and who Edward recognizes as the jerk who killed his father. So he says, Gradriel, go on ahead, I'll take care of this guy. But Gradriel doesn't want to go ahead without Edward, but he says, don't worry, I totally got this and I'll catch up with you. Edward's like, hey, you killed my dad. And Skulk is like, hey, you killed my homeboy Bloody. So, there. We fight now. And that leaves us in the spirit world on our way to rescue Sidriel. And we are facing a tower. There's no turning back. So we're just gonna have to go for it. Although it's not terribly convoluted as towers go, this is a long one, as you can see by the fact that the map takes up pretty much the whole screen vertically. But it is pretty much just another tower. There goes the notice drop, and I can't believe they have Myconids in here. Really, guys. Anyway, as I was saying, it's pretty much just another tower. There's really not a whole hell of a lot to be said about it. So, let's see, what else has been going on? Oh, yeah, I just got back from my mom's house where I was doing some tech support for her, and, her dog was very excited to see me, so excited that she headbutted me right in the fucking eyeball. It smarts like anything. I swear she couldn't have aimed it better if she was trying. I was planning on going out in a few days, so, hopefully I don't end up with too much of a shiner. She's really a very sweet-natured beastie. She's just, completely unaware of her own size and strength as far as I can tell. So there's that. Also, I have to admit that, oh, Griffin. I haven't seen many of those, so we'll leave this in. And I love its reaction to the M8. It just looks up like, oh shit. Anyway. Yeah, I have to admit that the slowness of this update is for entirely selfish reasons this time. I got sucked into Final Fantasy 13-2, which wasn't half bad. It was like the most Squaresoft thing ever. If you've played a lot of their game, they have their distinctive tropes, and yeah, 13-2 was chock full of them. But, I dug it well enough. I'm one of those rare folks who, actually liked 13.1 and didn't particularly mind the linearity. I do have to say that the characterization was nothing to write home about. There are only really two main protagonists this time, and they're both kind of boring. There's no one near as appealing as Saz. Yeah, am I crazy, or was Saz like completely the tits of FF13? He was just such a regular dude. I mean, he was a good pilot, yes, good with guns, and he had an afro with a chocobo in it, but in other respects, he's just kind of this guy who just wanted his kid back and kind of had importance thrust upon him. Regenerating meat. And in a series where the protagonists usually have kind of outsized personalities, or, especially in the post-7 series, are just fucking bananas, yeah, the regular guyness of Saz, was just really compelling for a change, I thought. Anyway, back to 13.2. I was really digging it, and then I beat it last night. And, it's a fairly new game. There are probably people yet to play it, so I won't say too much about it. And I will say that, for the combat system and for the time travel gimmick and all that, it is Probably worth playing unless you really hated 13. That said, fuck that ending. Again, I don't want to say too much about it, but between its length, you know, some of the boss fights, the extremely annoying final dungeon, and so on, 13.2 makes you work pretty hard for it, and at least to me, your mileage may vary, the ending was pretty much the equivalent of being one screen consisting of a crudely drawn crayon middle finger. That's pretty much how I felt about it. If I were feeling charitable, I might have said it was meant to be sort of a deconstruction of, like, epic JRPG tropes. But I'm not feeling that charitable, and I highly doubt, anything from Square Enix is going to be that self-aware. I don't know. Maybe it was just a very elaborate and expensive attempt at trolling. In which case, Square, you got your reaction, I guess. Congratulations. But enough about that. We're playing Princess Crown. And we've got a lot of tower left to go. And enough with the notice drop. This is why I find the notice drop somewhat annoying. There's just a random chance of it triggering when you enter a new encounter zone, but sometimes it just happens really, really often, and you just get tired of Arya telling you over and over what kind of monsters are in the area. Also, I really fail to represent myself very well against this chaotic eye. Not only do I take practically every hit possible, I keep trying to hit it with magic and completely whiffing due to the fact that it floats in the air. Also, how many skins can one floating eyeball have to shed? It's like an ocular Russian nesting ball. I have no idea how I expected that to hit. And I'm not sure what I was thinking with the fireball either, although at least it got caught a little bit by the explosion. And I'll certainly take a bit of Yggdrasil fruit in exchange. Ah! Well, that was needlessly taxing. Chaotic eyes can be extremely irritating when they put their minds to it. It's a very fortunate thing that they don't have much in the way of hit points, because it's hard to do more than single weak hits to them. Also, I can't help but notice that when Gradriel cooks up some soup, it looks like she's making the burner come up out of her hand. She has shown some aptitude for magic, so I suppose that's not out of the question. Also, low-level Geist armor. Sorry, but after General Golgotha, you kind of start to look a little second-rate there, dude. Okay, we're roughly halfway up the tower. I feel like chicken tonight, like chicken tonight. Cutscene. Ghost here is just kind of like, ha ha ha, the Demon King awaits you. And I guess there's not much Sidriel can do but march on out to meet her fate. So we'd better shake a leg. Ice Dragon, now we're talking. Didn't drop any dragon beef, though. Except in a chest, which is kind of weird. But we always take the dragon beef, yes we do. Why am I calling it dragon beef? Makes me think back to Ultima 7, where if you kill a rabbit, beef comes out. Alright, where do we go from here? Well, up, obviously, but... in Princess Crown Towers, it's often not quite that simple, alas. Okay, that's a really long staircase branch, so hopefully this is the right way to go. Spoiler, it won't be. Ugh. So, let's see here. Ochre jelly. It would seem that we should probably go left there, but can't do that. So it looks like we have to go back down the stairs, then right, then up, then left, or something to that effect. Oh, Princess Crown, you know I love you, but you're busting them with hammers, kid. Mango break. So I assume we go up here and either right or left, then take the staircase up. I'll try left because this game seems to like making you backtrack in order to get around tower obstacles, but there's a big old hole in the floor, so guess we go right and up, and that'll put us pretty much at our destination. More meat. Meat for the meat goddess. I certainly won't be needing that fruit. Not sure why I bother eating it. But I just saved a little time and dropped it on the floor, but oh well. Okay, onward. Now, barring any more unexpected holes in the floor, we'll take this up and then we'll be right about at the roof. Yep, looks good. That means it's time for inventory management. Preparation for the inevitable boss battle. See, I don't have a GOM scroll, so we'll skip the equipment. But we'll take a Holy Scroll and we'll swap out some of our regular healing items for gems, so we get healing and offense combined. Yeah, that looks like a winning loadout. Let's do this. Vogrod says, "Speak the words handed down through the royal family, the words that will set me free." And Sidriel does. "'Tis with this voice that I send out a call. I plead to those who control the path of time. The time has come for the light which shines upon the darkness to dance. The time has come for these painful shackles to disappear." And hey, here comes Gradriel. But she's a little bit late. The Demon King is free, and he doesn't look too cheerful. Sidriel gets the hell out of Dodge. And it's time to throw down. Fight! Alright, first off, Blau. Being a demon, he doesn't appreciate the Holy Scroll too much. Second, yeah, it looks like his name should be something more like Vogrod, but one of the walkthroughs I'm using prefers the interpretation Vogrod, and I like the sound of that, so I'm going to roll with it. Now, same walkthrough, being the more gameplay-oriented of the two I'm using, makes a really big deal out of this guy and suggests that he's one of the toughest bosses in the game. That has really not been my experience. In either of the two playthroughs that I've done, he really hasn't been that big of a deal. Now, he does have enormous physical defense. You'll notice he's really not taking much damage from sword attacks. But for being the king of demons, compared to his subordinates, he really doesn't have much in the way of flashy attacks. He mostly just punches you. Now, granted, he does punch you pretty damn hard, but his straightforward attacks are relatively easy to guard and relatively easy to action select. Also, he doesn't counter particularly well. Also, he takes normal damage from magic, and in a bit of unfortunate turn for him, Vogrod likes to drop gems quite a lot when you knock him down. So, yet another case of a video game boss providing the seeds of his own destruction. Although I should have brought more Holy Scrolls instead, the gems are also useful against him, because he takes extra damage from them, being a demon, and you get your healing. See, look, he's just giving away gems like they're candy. And they hurt him pretty good. Unfortunately, I didn't get his critical recorded. He only tried it that one time, and I accidentally stuffed it. But I don't recall it being really anything exciting. It is, if memory serves, which it may not, just a bigger punch combination that hits you a bunch of times for very respectable damage. But, you know, nothing visually thrilling. I'm getting a little sick of that grab. However, he's just down to a little bit over 100 hit points out of nearly 700, so we're doing pretty well. Certainly, I didn't have nearly as much trouble with this guy as I did with General Golgotha. Or with the dragons earlier in the game, for that matter. Alright, looks like we've just about done this thing. Good night, Irene. And finally, Edward shows up. You're a little late, buddy. Holy shit, this is the Tower of the Demon King. Yeah, good deduction, Eduardo. Vogrod is disappearing, and Edward has a bad feeling. And yep, tower's collapsing. Ed says we better get Sidriel out of here, and Gradriel thinks that's a good idea. They're gonna take her back to the castle. Well, what do you know, Skulg again. His power has been unsealed along with Vogrod, and Edward says, Gradriel, take Sidriel out of here, I'm going to take care of this guy. Gradriel protests, but Edward says, this one's personal, so this is my fight. Edward says he's going to finish Skulg off this time, and he'll learn the true power of the Glostov family. Skulg says the Glostov family is going to end right here, because the father is dead, and the son is going to follow in his footsteps. Meanwhile, Gradriel and Sidriel are headed back to the ship. They're going to get the hell off of Earth on Cruz Terra before it erupts into flames or something to that effect. Gradriel's worried about Edward and just bids him a safe return. Ariel's glad to see Gradriel return safely, and Gradriel says, yeah, I'm doing fine, and I've brought Sidriel. I have returned. Sister! And Justini's glad to see the three daughters of Queen Alpharon back together again. Gradriel's sorry for worrying him, and Justini kind of chides her a little, but says she's stronger than ever. And Justini just tells Gradriel she ought to get some rest. Good idea. Well, what was that? And here comes Arya saying that monsters have entered the castle. Apparently there's some kind of critter causing some trouble down at the castle gate. So we'll get suited up and head out to take care of the little disturbance. Now, nothing happens until we get to the castle gate, so we'll just cut over to that. We arrive to find a Cardo Knight saying there's a beast attacking the castle. Gradriel asks what's up, and he says there's a griffin out there. Gradriel thinks it's weird that the griffin is so close to the castle, and goes out to see what's what. Well, that is definitely a griffin, and it seems the guard is having a little bit of trouble with it. And that's it for the guard. Foul monster, your ripe, fulsome buttocks have no power over Gradriel. It does give me a little bit of a scrap, though. It's decently leveled, and while they're certainly not among the worst of the monsters out there, griffins can get their licks in. What's so funny? I definitely have some trouble with my air defense in this battle. Also, am I crazy, or when they take off and start flying, does it kind of look like the griffins have a tan line? Oh, Vanillaware. Well, proto-Vanillaware, anyway. Hey, corn. Get closer, I want to pick up your corn. There we go. That rush attack comes out really fast and is kind of difficult to prepare for unless you're already guarding. I don't think we've seen much of that from previous Griffins, so maybe it's a feature of the level. Or my memory could just be betraying me. It has a way of doing that. Getting fairly close to the wind now. Oh, projectile air juggle. Some high-level gameplay. You've been practicing, Griffin. Well, that's that, but still very strange. Gradriel is fine, but she wonders why a single griffin would attack the castle in the middle of the night. Justini says the earlier tremor was caused by some kind of magic that was influencing the creature. And Gradriel is afraid that with the door to the demon realms being open, that evil power must be flowing through. And Justin I says, yeah, it's probably something to do with the Demon King's seal having been broken. Justin I wants to know if the Demon King was killed, and Gradriel says they fought, but he's probably not dead. Hey, here's Sidriel, and she doesn't know quite how to say it, but she has a request that they help the Demon King. Predictably, Gradriel and Justin I want to know what the actual fuck she's talking about, and Sidriel says Vogrod's really not such a bad guy. Gradriel thinks maybe she better explain herself, so it's flashback time. Now, the remainder of this video has an assload of dialogue, which I don't have a prayer of keeping up with, so in a few moments I'm going to shut up and let the captions do the talking. As always, this is taken from a translation guide that takes a fair amount of artistic license, so I make no claims as to the literal accuracy of the dialogue, but it should get the point across. Anyway, I'll be quiet for now. Use your pause button as necessary, and I'll come back in at the end to take us on out. See you then. So Sidriel and Vogrod are a little sweet on each other, huh? Wow, there's a pairing for all the size difference fetishists in the audience. Anyway, it looks like the next step on the mission proper is to head on back to Vogrod's tower, which I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to. But I think next time we're gonna kick things off with a little more side questing. Until then, this has been Un. Thanking you once again for watching. It's been a pleasure as always. Take care, and I'll catch you soon.